Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by veteran turned spiritual seeker, John Lawyer. John went from desert combat zones to the battle within, and he is now one of the many guides of the online spiritual community, Kishar. So we're going to be talking to him about his story and about the online spiritual community. So John, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Curtis. I appreciate it.
Why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Was raised Southern Baptist, so that was kind of conservative, but grew up in the church, left it behind eventually, counterintelligence. But I got to my 5-year enlistment, and I spent about 6.5 years, and that was consecutive. So it was an interesting kind of life. It was kind of a situation where I was so busy. There was a lot going on. I mean, sometimes we were in danger. Big things would happen. So there was always that low grade, necessarily process it. And so that was my time in my 20s. And I'm tired of this life. I knew that I needed to heal. I didn't necessarily know what. So it took me about 7 years of kind of wondering, had this moment, I hadn't been on a school. It kind of took me by surprise. And so the last two.
So tell the listeners, what do you feel that your spiritual beliefs are?
Overall, I'm a universalist, kind of come as you are, but practice our own individual. That's the overall belief that I have. And then I also have my own personal kind of preferences with that. I really, the kind of universal, you could call that, or you could call it Christ, like the Tao from Taoism. I also respect. They've helped inform my own. So I try to have diverse practices where I learn, because I think if we ask different questions.
Well, tell us about Kishar, the online spiritual community. Tell us about the origin of the name and what listeners can expect if they decide to join.
The name's always important, right? In searching, we came across the Earth or Gaia, and sometimes we don't realize it. So that's the origin for the community, kind of, not necessarily as open going. And I think one of the things, we're all on the spiritual journey, know it or not, but even if you know it and you're on the spiritual path, we still have to live in this real world. Most of us aren't going to live in the monastery. So if we're going to live in this real world, how do we, that's kind of the essence of.
So how can people benefit by working one-on-one with John Lawyer?
One of the things we do with the community, how can we help people, their whole, whether they know it, and to navigate that intersection, take action and we also take a really close, what your higher purpose, or do you have an essence of it? And if you don't know what it is, and I think we each have higher purpose or dharma, and then we look at how that aligns with basically it's whether it's someone's walk of life that you're having more, because I think that alignment, your lifestyle, that mind, body, and soul means that you can live a more peaceful.
What during your time in the desert helps you now on your spiritual path?
The desert has a lot of power. And I think that I see a lot of light in the world now. I saw power and light. I also saw darkness. That machine is kind of this dark thing, and it grinds people up on our side. I think the longer that we're all just humans. One of the things that I appreciate about that time, and if there's anything that I can do to help someone light their path so that they can see their own, maybe I shed a little bit of light on it, then maybe I help them can take some shortcuts that I wasn't able to take. And I think that's what.
Define the stream of unconsciousness.
I think that from a young age, there's all this stuff is what we're kind of like what we're predestined to do. And I call that the stream of unconsciousness that pulls us. And it can be this warm thing, kind of gentle, and you just kind of float down it. But maybe we're not experiencing life as fully. And maybe we don't know, hey, what do I want? What are my values? What what are my own truths? And so if we can just take us out of that stream of opportunities.
Tell us about any current or upcoming projects that you're working on that people need to know about.
We're always growing our community. We're adding stuff in, and we want to expand part of it. So we have this, but we also want to experience some connection in a group setting.
Well, so people can sign up and check it out and keep up with everything that you're up to. Throw out your contact info.
Sure. Our website is kishar.org. It's KIS. And that's got signing up for our community. It's got background on who we are. It's got links to, it's also got links to our YouTube channel where we put out free content a couple of times a week. We put easy to watch background on spirit. Would take a look at the website. And
all right, close us out with some final thoughts. Maybe if there was something I forgot to talk about that you would like to touch on, or just any final thoughts you have for the listeners.
I think that what I would say, if you're going to do one thing, and don't shoot for perfection, like know that there's perfection inside of you, but you don't have to be perfect today. So have some grace for you got this, I think.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for some spiritual seeking, check out kishar.org. Follow, rate, review, share this episode to as many people as possible, as many people that's looking for some spiritual seeking. If you have any guests or suggestion topics, cjackson102@cox.net is the place to send them. cjackson102@cox.net. As always, thank you for listening. And John, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.